Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of We Be Talking.
We be talking, what's the word? Everything you never heard. We be talking, talking.
What's up? Okay, listen. It's your girl, Tamara. That's my girl, Ave. Say hey, Ave.
Hey, love.
That's my girl, Sheikah.
Hey, y'all.
That's my girl, Kim.
Hey, y'all.
And we have a special guest for y'all today. That is my baby daddy.
Oh,
Daddy.
I'm not going to say that. But this is my ex-husband and the father of my children, Carlos Porter. Say hey, Carlos.
Hey, Carlos. Hey,
All right,
Carlos.
listen. Before we get into the topic today, obviously, we're going to have the male perspective, right? We always value their opinion. But before we get into the topic, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share our video, okay? Make sure that you share it with everybody, okay? We're trying to get up there, y'all. We're trying to get up there. Subscribe to our channel. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, okay?
We got a little bit coming for y'all, so stay tuned.
We do. Stay tuned. It's going to be good. Anyways, so today's topic is very interesting. I don't even know how to say it. How do or can a woman by herself raise a boy to become a successful man, a successful member of society? Can a woman do that by herself alone? Hence why we have a man here to give his perspective. All right. So don't forget to comment down below. Let us think what you think about the topic. Let us know what you think about the topic. Chime in, join the conversation. It's going to be good, y'all. All right. So I don't even know where to start where this is concerned.
Ooh, I'm going to try my best to let y'all go first.
I know.
I know
he needs to go first. I think Carlos needs to go first.
Okay,
so what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts?
My thought was, at first, I was like, is that possible? I said, yes.
Wait, we can't hear you. Come in.
In the beginning, I said yes. But then I really had to sit back and really think about the question and then it was such a good question, so I asked a lot of people. I even asked my dad when we went to breakfast this morning. I asked my brothers. I asked everybody that have sons. Can a female raise a man like you? Do she know what it takes to become a man? And a lot of them is interested. The 7 out of, I say about 10 or 15 people I asked had the same opinion as me. Yes, they can. And a lot of them said, no, they can't. Because they had a story behind it, because it wasn't meant from my uncle or this male perspective that they had in their life. They would never, ever became who they really were. And I thank God that I had my dad in my life, my whole entire life, and he raised me. And I really didn't have my mother in my life that much, but I always had my father. And when it came down to it at the end of the day, I think a woman can do it if they were hard, because these Gen X kids here, I'm like, there's something else. And a lot of times women are just don't really stop. Oh, they don't do any discipline in the household when it come down to capital punishment. Capital punishment. You ain't gonna give them a spanking no more. And no such thing as spanking in the household no more and stuff like that. Or but we were raised, and with a boy, he has to.
I whooped Kobe faithfully.
Okay, first of all, Kobe is her dog, by the way, y'all.
No, but Kobe is my child too. So, period.
So with that being said, is a lot of time it take that male, because we that male perspective with boys or raising young men to raising a young boy to become men, especially in that transition stage when I say their preteen age, when they becoming a teenager, when they realize that their body is a little changing and they got a little hair around that thing now, and they start having, you ain't gonna go to your mama and have this conversation.
Right.
Because things like that is something that he needs to be able to be taught. Hey, you gotta wrap this thing up. You can't be out here doing this. You don't want to wind up with the kids and all this stuff. it's we tend to turn to the streets and get more of our information from the street,
Mhm.
and that'd be the wrong way to go. And that's why I say yes, they can, but it's gonna be very, very hard. She can raise them up to be what she think an ideal of a man should be, but without that male perspective, how we ever know what a man actually should be? That's just my opinion.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
go.
agree.
I'm gonna go behind Carlos. I think it's absolutely a good perspective to have because just going from the discipline side, I know, and not just I'm just speaking from my perspective, but I know a lot of these ladies on here at least have had the same problem. We women, we tend to be a little less harsh on our sons. And in the beginning anyway, I don't know why. And at first I didn't think so because we argued about that thing. And I'm like, I treat him the same way I treat her. And he's like, no, you don't. You know, and it's like I didn't realize it until after having a relationship with the Lord, talking to the Lord about certain things, he would bring it to my remembrance when I'm in the very act of doing what I said I wasn't doing, so I think it makes it hard for women to raise men properly. I'm not saying they can't, because I think all things can be done through Holy Spirit. And I think he will give a woman whatever she needs. If she had to do it by herself, I believe that he will give her what she needs. But God designed family. He designed this. So if we take an element out of it, of course, it's not going to function to the highest height that it should function at. But, just like we got grace, I think he will give what we need in order to raise them to be great men in society. But I agree, like you said, when things start changing with that man, it's going to be hard for a woman to really express what it is to be a man because she's not a man. You get what I'm saying? So in that aspect, I absolutely agree. And that's taking nothing away from single moms or whatever, because I know a lot of them have done it, and there's men out here that has only had their mother. I get that. I don't want to take that away. But think of what it could be had the father been in their life. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm at with it.
I agree with you too. I think it is hard to try to raise a boy with not having, if there's no male perspective. And you've heard it takes a village to raise a child. It really, really does. And even if, like in my situation, Carlos and I were not together. We live in two different states. At one time, we lived in two different continents.
Mm-hmm.
So him being readily available is not something that's possible right now, as far as physically there. So I can't tell Daniel, I'm gonna call you dad. I told him that one time. You know what he said?
What'd he say?
Well, he said, Dad don't live here.
Oh,
So
He said, Dad don't live here.
they grown now. Yeah.
Right.
He said,
Dad.
Carlos said these Gen
That's
X
it.
kids, they different. Because you used to tell a child that back in the day, they'd be like, oh, but now.
He said, Dad don't live here. So what is that going to do? You know what I'm saying? But I think I've been blessed and fortunate enough to have some male figures around me that I can rely on. Especially now, even living here in San Antonio, y'all know Junior. Well, Sheikah, you met Junior.
I didn't meet him, but I heard about him.
Yeah, so that's my friend Camilla's husband. He is awesome. And sometimes he'll come pick up Daniel, and me and Camilla and the girls will go chill, and he'll take Daniel somewhere, and they'll have their time or whatever. And I really appreciate that. But it definitely is hard. I don't know the first thing about being a man, and growing up in a household where I didn't have my father. So I can't say my father taught me this or my father taught me that. I didn't have that. So I definitely know that I can't teach my son how to be a man, because I don't know, but what I can do, like you said, Kim, I can rely on God, rely on, his leading, because I'm not lacking anything. I'm not inadequate in any kind of way. and he's always going to provide someone there to give me what I need when it comes to my son, and even my daughter. And I think about this too, like when Daniel gets to a certain age and he starts to smell himself and I can't handle him.
Because it happens.
Like, what am I gonna do?
Sound like that's one.
Get a stick.
Oh, you gonna have to, because he was
Get a stick, baby.
when they turned- and I think me and Ave both, we got
say
to
get a stick?
boys. It's a difference from having teenage boys and
Yeah.
having little boys.
I agree. You like the little ones.
Yeah, I've been there. And the thing about it is, I wish Carlos was, he just popped up.
Can we wait till he come back? I don't know.
With the next guest that we have, we should probably talk about that we don't get up until commercial breaks. We didn't, production wasn't on set.
He didn't know. He didn't know.
To the guests in the green rooms, but I'd take responsibility for that because we was in the green room.
I think
before y'all got
somebody
here.
came to his
He
house.
was at work, right?
No,
Oh,
he's
there
at
you
home.
go. There
Oh.
you go.
There we go.
So just to let you
And
know,
we're
Carla,
back.
you can't just be getting up and walking away. Now he gone.
But I just, I want
That's
to
what I
say,
said.
I think she had finished, but one of you had.
Yeah,
I think Ave, we haven't heard from Ave.
yeah, she'll never be saying, go ahead, Ave, because I get to talking and I get to talking. She be sitting over there listening and giving us her facial expression.
I absolutely think that a woman,
Oh, we were talking about, me and Ave was talking about the boys being at a certain age
Oh.
because
Oh yes,
It's
little
different
boys
from
and teenage
raising-
boys.
little, but now she can
Sheikah was talking. That's right, because Sheikah was talking. Go ahead, Sheikah.
Oh, I missed it. Boys being a little bit bigger versus big, young, da 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 da. It's different. But go ahead, Ave, finish off.
I I do believe that women can raise boys to be productive human beings. I do not believe that a woman can raise a boy to be a man, only because I feel like you guys said, there's a certain perspective that can only be taught from an experience that's lived. And so I think, and I think so it's almost like if I'm looking at it as, sorry, y'all. How I look at it is, let's say I'm painting a picture and I'm trying to draw the skyline. And the skyline, from my perspective, I see the trees, I see the building, and that's just what I see from my perspective. So if I'm describing it to someone who is vision impaired and I'm telling them about the skyline, I'm like, oh my God, the skyline is so beautiful. They're like, what is it? What does it look like? And I'm like, it's just buildings and it's just trees. And they're like, that's all the skyline? That's all the skyline is building and trees. Right? So then the vision impaired person has this thought of, okay, I'm visualizing this skyline and it's just trees and it's just buildings. Whereas if you have someone from a different life experience, a different perspective, they can look at that same skyline and say, yes, there are trees and there are buildings, but there are also clouds. And then there are also behind the buildings, there is a lake. And there is also hashtag watch our reel coming up. And so you're saying all of this. So it adds more perspective to a picture that I would paint as flat. Living that experience gives it the 3D interactive ability. So though I feel that a woman could raise a boy to be a productive human being, absolutely. You could raise them to know right from wrong. You need to get a job. You need to work. This is how you take care of yourself. This is how you clean yourself. This is how you provide for yourself. But I truly believe that it takes a man to give that 3D perspective of actively living that experience. What does that feel like? What is that? How do you overcome obstacles? Mama says you just believe in yourself. Yes, but there's more than just believing yourself. How do you put one foot in front of the other to get the result that you're looking for?
Right.
Mama won't be able to teach you that.
Yeah.
Because all I know is, baby, you can do anything you set your mind to.
Right.
Where the male, Right, period. Where the male would be like, yes, you can, but in doing that, you're gonna have to get down in the muck and you're gonna have to self-motivate yourself. And you're gonna have to close out outside sources that are telling you you're not gonna be able to do this.
Right, because I also was gonna say, because we don't know the pressures of what it's like to be a man in today, or especially for us, a Black man in
Exactly.
today's society. So I would say, from a person who, and I'm gonna say this, just hear me out, because I know people like, that ain't the same. But from a person who I feel like have experienced both, I feel like at times I am a single parent raising my children when my husband was out to sea, always.
That is what
And
it is.
then when
It's the same.
when he's home. So but you know, talking to Sir, I've said it before, and they like, oh no, you got a man though, because you know he coming back.
Him ain't here. Him out to
But
sea.
whether I know he coming back or not, if I'm
Sorry.
there by myself.
I miss you, baby. I'm holding
Right,
it
I'm
down.
there by myself, putting my foot, having to deal with these issues without that physical presence.
Yeah.
It's not the same. And so I do understand raising a little Black boy, raising a little boy versus raising a teenage boy. It's totally different. And when they get to that teenage, sometimes you look around and the male not there, you be like, Lord, okay, so what am I, how am I? Because he in here with his door closed, whacking that thing out. What do I do?
And I'm tired of these crunchy socks in the
And I'm
laundry.
tired of these crunchy socks, Lord. Because how do I deal? And then talking to his daddy out the sea, like, babe, this is this, man, do this, blah, 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 da, da. Just do it. And I'm like, I need some help. So it's different. It is so different. But can they be productive citizens? Of course.
Absolutely.
Can they grow up to do great things? Yes. Have women struggled and raised young, successful, great Black productive men? Of course. But at the same time, I feel like what'll happen is there will be something that they're missing as
Absolutely.
if because I'm a strong believer in Jesus Christ and him being a healer and a fulfiller of all voids.
Hallelujah.
I'm a believer of that, because I know people have had testimonies who haven't had a parent or parents there, but as they developed that relationship, God had fulfilled that void and been that parent. So, but if that child, they will have issues if they don't allow or even have been taught to have Holy Spirit there to help them fulfill that. Because even if they do grow up to be successful in what we consider or what the world say is successful, that does not necessarily mean that they don't have internal emotional things that they have to work through, because they'll have those questions. Daddy was never there. I needed this male perspective. So yeah, we can teach them. And you know, I'm gonna say this. Women, we emotional, and when it comes to our sons, because when it comes to them girls, it's something different. Like, we love them, we love all.
It is so different. But you love your son is a different type of love. I can't explain it.
Listen,
and we all should know.
And I would do anything.
My first love has always been his mother. Even though my mother wasn't in my life like that, I still love my mama more than I love my father. He knows that. I'm like, and a girl's first love gonna be her dad, and that's why.
Absolutely, I love you, Daddy.
Me, she just calls me in to ask for anything, and she get it right then and there, because Daniel cannot do that.
Why?
See,
that's it, because you're not gonna do my baby like that. But my baby just call me.
And here's the thing, I believe that's why it's so important that God designed the family the way that he did.
Yeah.
You need that mother and that father there, that balance. Because Daniel would tell me, you babying him. And I can see at times where I would baby him. Because I remember, because as he got older, I remember saying, dang, you're gonna feel the need to back off and not baby. Because it is different type of person that
when
comes
you want to
up.
fight him, that's when you have to back off.
Yeah. And then you be like, wait a minute. But my whole thing is, I feel like, it's possible, but it is so important for that father and the mother both to be in that family. When it's not there, of course, you know, there's grace and things will work out. I don't foresee, you know, Daniel being a menace to society because Carlos is not physically in the house. But what I do see is there may be some things that he would deal with as he get older because of
Yeah.
that presence. Because every child longs for the presence of their father. Every child longs for the presence of their mother at some point. And not that
Yes.
Carlos can't be a great dad outside of the house. It still will be something, because my father was outside of the house. My mom and dad got a divorce when I was about 12, but he was outside the house. And there were still things that he took care of us. We knew he was there. And when he needed something, when we needed something, he would come, or whatever the case may be. He was present, but he wasn't present.
Right.
Day to day. We needed him there, that day to day in, day out type deal, but it just didn't work out that way. And so there still was some things that we had to deal with as we got older, because we didn't have that day to day presence. So me and Daniel have made a vow, a commitment that we're gonna give our children what we didn't have. And that was both parents, because we both experienced that. So we wanted to make sure we did what we had to do to make sure, we give them that. But I feel like there'll be some emotional issues that they'll have to work through, that's not impossible. And moms, when it comes to boys, we so soft on them.
It's hard.
Our baby can't do
It's
no
hard.
wrong.
I see myself being really soft on Daniel, and I see sometimes where Shania would say, "Mom, if I had did that, you would have bit my head off."
My girls say that all the time.
Yeah. She said, if I would have did it, you would have bit my head off. And, and I would think about it like, what am I doing it because he's the young one, because he's the baby, or is because he's my son, or whatever? I don't know. I think he's the baby. There's a combination, and he's my son. It's a combination of reasons. And I think of like, okay, so when Daniel becomes a teenager and he starts to ask some questions and he starts to do certain things, or what if Daniel says, I want to go live with dad? How is that going to make me feel? And how am I going to respond to, you know what I'm saying? Like, will I be able to be like, okay, well, all right, go live with dad. You know what I'm saying?
He would say that, but he's never going to say that because you spoil him too much. He's never going to say that.
That's your opinion.
I asked Daniel, you can ask Daniel, Daniel, you want to come be with that? No, he don't really want to come down here and visit for summer.
Especially while he's, well, Carlos, things might change as he get older, but while he's young, that's what's gonna happen. But as he get older, you don't know what's gonna happen in his little brain. Where he like, hey, I really want to be around a man. I need all these women. Because when Daniel,
and he will say spoil, and maybe spoil and overcompensate is the same thing. Maybe they're synonymous. But I feel like in some areas I have to overcompensate, because the fact is my kids live in a single parent household. So I can't not nurture him the way that I want to. I can't everything just be all rough and, I can't do that.
But you do.
Number one, because I'm a woman, I'm his mom. And to be a nurturer, it's in me to be a nurturer, But at the same time, I feel like, I give them tough love a lot of times. I have to go in my room and close the door. It's not something I can do and be bold-faced. Huh?
I think that's the balance. I think that's the balance when y'all saying that when it comes down to the male's perspective, that mothers are naturally going to be more nurturing. They're going to be more loving and more caring. But we're programmed to provide for our family. Our whole idea is a man don't work, he don't eat. I'm like, what y'all do is great. What I'm saying is when you're raising them up to that age, but when they get to that age, well, how do I walk? How do I talk? Do a man supposed to walk upright? How do I tie a tie? How do I walk inside the room? How do I demand attention in the room? When people walk in the room, they instantly gravitate towards you. How do you do that, Dad? How do you go and apply for a job? What are the things that you're doing, even though it's different? Women do it all the time, but at the same time, it's a different for a black man going inside this white work world and trying to figure out how to do these things. He got to know how to present himself, sell himself, come home, being able to have the female perspective now because one day he's gonna get married, he's gonna have kids. If he's never taught how to be a man, then what happens when they do have kids? What is he gonna teach his kid? What are the morals and stuff that he's gonna put inside his son?
I think I think too, it just depends on a person and which way they tend to gravitate to, because my husband met
Yes.
his father for the first time at 16 years old. But when I
Yes.
say I couldn't imagine a better father for my children, I couldn't. I mean, emotionally, he's shown that he's there for emotional support. He's shown that he's been there for physical, financial, like all around. I feel like he's a great father. And that's speaking from a person who has a father who's been a dynamic father in my life. So I've seen the example from my daddy of what a dad should be. Plus, even though Daniel didn't have a father in the home,
Mhm.
he every little bit of thing that he needed, that he missed, that he wished he had he's taken that
You
and
want to make sure that his kids
put into his
Exactly.
children.
So the
Yeah.
mistakes of his
Yeah.
Like I
father,
said, I
he's
do-
not gonna repeat the same mistake.
Yeah, I do think that could be great, but again, there are some emotional things that he have to deal with from not having that male there. But I believe he'll turn out to be, he'll be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of these days, I've been thinking about this a lot. I haven't said anything to you, Carlos, but I've been thinking about, especially when I take Daniel to karate and I see some, how he handles some situations and he gets so emotional. And I'm like, man, I wonder if he'd be different if he had Carlos there constantly to reassure him and to let him know that, he could be confident, like you can do this. Because I tell him all day, every day, you can do this. Prime example, we were at karate, right? And they're doing like a whole leadership thing. And so they got into these lines. And what they were doing was they were trying to teach them how to do cartwheels. Now, Daniel already know how to do cartwheels. He loves to flip around the house. He got a trampoline. He used to do gymnastics and all that stuff. So he knows how to do cartwheels. And a lot of the students, the older students that were there didn't know how to, right? So they had the beginner line, they had the maybe I could do it a little bit type of line, and they had the line where I know that I could do a cartwheel down the line, right? And so he was in the middle line. And then when it came to his turn, he went to the back of the line. So I was like, Daniel, go, you can do it. And I know because Daniel flipped more than he walks. Okay. So I know he can do it, but he didn't have that confidence. He was so afraid because the kids are, maybe the kids were bigger or whatever. And so there was a guy there. He and his son was there and he saw me. I'm telling Daniel, go back to the front of the line. You can do this, So he comes over and he tells Daniel, he was like, what's up, man? You can do it. Go ahead. You got this. And it's like he looked at that man that he has never spoken to before. Yeah. And that man instilled some kind of confidence or some kind of bravery inside of him that I couldn't do, and he went up there and he did it. And he did it better than every last one of the kids that were in there. And so when he did it, he saw, okay, he got that confidence. He realized that he could do it, that he just kept going back and kept doing it and kept doing it. But I've been telling him, you can do it. I've seen you do it. You got a trampoline. You've been flipping. You do this really, really good. You flip in the backyard. You flip on the bed. You flip all over the house. And here comes this stranger that tells him one time, he takes one look at the man and he goes and do it. So I've been like, man, it's not me not knowing what to do or how to do it. It's the fact that some things he won't get or he won't accept or hear from me because I'm not a man.
That happens. We need male validation because I still look for my father to teach me a lot of stuff. That's why we spend so much time with each other. So it's what you seen then with him getting validated, they're saying they're reassuring their male perspective because we always look mothers are always they're gonna have your back regardless.
That was all about to say.
They're gonna tell you can do anything.
No matter what it is.
Yep.
No matter what it is.
Even if you can't do it,
they're gonna be that real like,
tell you
all right, if you do this, it's gonna take a lot of work. You're gonna have to do this and this and that, X, Y, and Z. Your mama sold you this dream that everything gonna know. That's not how we do. Because once y'all baby asks for one thing, but y'all say, yeah, baby, you can do it. Go ahead, baby. It's okay. But then we had to deal with the real aspect of it when we saying, well, Daniel, it's gonna take you a lot of practice. It's gonna take a lot of this. I'm like, this is serious. You can't start this and quit. I'm like, because so you got to have that type of conversation with him.
I've experienced that. My son swim, and so I be like, because I've seen him and he's really good. I be like, man, you got it, you can do it, blah, 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 blah. He's great, you're gonna be great. He was like, all right, it's all great and great. And then he was like, but there's somebody else swimming 10 times harder than you right now. There's somebody else out there. So he always give him another perspective. And that male is gonna always break down, like Ave was talking about, the A, B, and C of how to put one foot in front of the other. Men gonna always come and show you how to like, how you gonna put this one foot, because they've experienced it, they walked it, we haven't walked it. So it's important, like I said, yeah, that'd be great, but they need their father in the home.
I think what he just said, I was gonna pretty much say, like, you know how sometimes a husband and a wife, we can tell each other something over and over again to encourage them or to push them or whatever, and they don't hear it. And another gentleman or woman come in and say the same thing, and they get it, right? They get it. Well, I think a lot of the kids nowadays, they so used to, like you said, the mom saying you can do it, you go, they used to that, right? To hear somebody else say you can do it, it is a boost of confidence, because I know for sure in my head and my mind that my mama gonna love it. I don't care if this scribble, scrabble, whatever, she gonna hang it on the refrigerator, you know, she don't care. But if somebody else come in and say something, so it's not, I don't even think for Tamara, I don't even think it's something you should take like personal, because it's just a natural thing, because you always give that assurance to hear somebody else say it, like you said. I don't even think it had to be a man, just somebody else saying it other than my mama, who gonna love me regardless, who gonna push me regardless. To hear somebody else say it helps validate what you've already been saying. So I think it's just unique of how the dynamic of family is, because that's what it is. It creates an environment where you can be 100%. You know, you got your balance, you got the stronger person, you got the disciplinary, you got the soft one, you know. And sometimes I think we switch roles, because some things I will absolutely not tolerate, and Vernon will.
Yeah.
You know, so and he will. And some days I see him, and I learned this from Sheikah, I learned this from her. Some days you just have to sit
Punch
back
him in the chest?
let them.
Oh, wait, okay.
You have to sit back and let the male man, discipline that boy, because we won't get to a point where we're disciplining him every single time like he needed. And I'll be telling him, we'll go back and I'm like, you ain't have to do that. You didn't have to do it. And he was like, yes, I did. You know, he gonna be a man one day. And now I'm slowly learning as he is 5. And this generation is growing way quicker than what you guys, y'all older boys that have older kids, they are growing way faster than what you guys.
Way smarter.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's with a phone, a push of a button. Everything is.
Right.
Our kids are walking around all day with their phone or something in their hand.
Right.
I'm like, hey, technology, slow down. Let's go out here and climb this tree. Let's go out here. I'm gonna show you how to chop some wood while make a fire. Come out here. Let's go do this.
Absolutely.
Like, they won't do that. It's like CJ. CJ is my oldest coach. I know CJ.
Mm-hmm.
This is his last year in school. He'll be going off to the Coast. Well, not Coast Guard.
National Guard.
Yeah, come on.
And
man.
he's already did his boot camp, so he's going to be leaving at the end of the school year.
Oh.
Make a long story short, CJ is, I think, I really want him to grow up around Daniel, so him and Daniel would actually, I think a lot of time it's all about how you start too. It's not all about how you finish sometimes, because with him, he got to hang with me and got to do a lot of things with me. I showed him how to, change your own oil. This is your first car. I taught him a lot of responsibility. I could see a lot of myself inside him. When I was raising him, I see a lot of Tamara inside from Missy and like she say Missy get that mean streak from me. Apparently, she get it for her because she do got a very bad attitude problem majority of the time. But they get a lot of that stuff from. That's who raised them. You got to understand that's their mom. Yeah. So it's like from the time we had these kids. Well, I got custody of my kids when they were 3 and 2.
They were like,
yes.
Missy was 2 and CJ was 3.
Yes. So that's the only mother they knew. They recently, well, Missy don't talk to her mom, but they recently started to when CJ started to reach out to her mom again, that all goes back to say a boy first love is his mother. After all this time of not communicating with him at all, now all of a sudden he wants to communicate with his mother. And the girl's on the other side saying, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. She don't want to call you. She don't want to do anything. And I can't make her do it because her relationship is not with you. She don't look at you as her mom. She look at Tamara as her mother. So I'm like, how can I change that? I'm like, I can't change that after all this time. Bottom line. So
That's true though, because you know I'm 41, and I was telling them about my dad recently. My dad has been like reaching out and calling and texting and asking about the kids and want to meet up and want to see them, and you know, really consistently. And this is like the first time ever that I've seen that consistency with him reaching out. And I know I have said before, you know, I'm done. I don't need him. I don't want it. Oh, whatever. But it's like sometimes, like when I wake up and I see a text from him, or he'll, you know, send me a little recording of his voice or whatever, I feel like a little girl.
Oh.
I feel like a little girl. Like
Especially
it
when
don't
you
matter
say how pretty you are. Like when he said,
right. He was like,
"So
you're so beautiful and you're gorgeous and this and that. And I've been like, oh my God. You know, like me being a
I
grown
tell you
woman,
that all the time.
Yeah.
but you ain't my daddy though.
Carlos.
I was your daddy for a long time.
Oh,
You gonna let that go? I ain't gonna let you go.
oh.
We will keep this in the recording, right?
He said he was your daddy for a long
Look,
time.
I may say, listen, I may say, I'm not doing this. I'm gone.
No, but I want to piggyback off something Kim had said while Carlos over here trying to make love connection
Okay.
on the Zoom. No, but when I was with Kim, I would see with me, Daniel would discipline D, and he disciplined him different from me because you know I'm a discipline him.
Oh yeah.
But I ain't gonna discipline him.
Right.
Right.
Like, babe, you have to, and so I had to learn because we would get into arguments.
Hmm.
And it wasn't a good thing because the kids would know who to play. And
Yeah.
so it really started, I saw them using it. I was like, oh, these little Negroes. Oh, they trying to take me from my weakness. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna release daddy on you. I'm just gonna release that. So when he would discipline, I literally sometimes I would have to sit back because I would see Daniel growing up and trying me to a certain extent because he knew that I wasn't gonna do, and then it's too late because now I'm trying to rev up. Boy, you and you're like, you should have did that back then.
First time you did.
What I learned was when he got older, even though I know Daniel loved me and he's so respectful to me, you know what I mean? Because I could see him respect me as his mother. You know how the boy is soft on his mom. I see it more so now as he's older than I did when he was younger. It's more like you can see that my mama and ain't nobody like I got my mama
And that's it. Yeah.
Even like when he come and you know, so I can see it, but still when he do stuff wrong, he know I'm soft on him. So his response to me is totally different than his response to his daddy. I can literally say, I'm gonna call your daddy. He be like, mom, let's just, because Daniel gonna get in his tail. And now I'll be so happy when Daniel around when Lil D mess up. I'll be like, get him. Because it's a different get him from Big D than it is Lil D. And I used to remember when Daniel was frustrating me when he was younger, when he was little, like when he went to school and he watched Power Rangers all the time, or true story. He had morphed on his teacher and kicked.
Hey.
He did what now?
He
That's
said
what you do as a ranger now. That's what you do.
He said it's morphin' time.
He wouldn't give him no more chocolate crackers or something. He got out his seat and he said, it's morphin' time.
Wait, I got a question. What ranger did he morph into? Because the
Come on
white
now.
one was always the best. You know
I
what
don't
ranger he
quite
morphed
know.
into?
He didn't give us the color. All I know is he morphed into the when he said in morphing time, she said sit down and he said whop and he kicked
Full
her.
time.
In his mind, he was a Power Ranger. This is a true
He
story.
wonder. He
The
wonder.
teacher came and said, he just morphed on me. I said, what? No lie. Jesus the hand on the Bible. I said, what you mean? Morphed on? I was about to get in her butt. Like, what you mean?
Don't
My
do
child
that.
is a human. What you mean? Morphed on you? Like, morphed into what? She said he was a Power Ranger. Y'all got to know this. Y'all got to know this.
Oh my
Y'all dealing with-
I heard about this
Oh, boy.
story.
He was a Power Ranger. He morphed, and then he had two other students that when he said it's morphing time, Anthony and Nate both stood up and they
Come
morphed.
on.
They all morphed. They had a bag. They just didn't do no kicking because they didn't think it was gonna be that serious. But we said it's morphing time. They all got out this,
Oh my God, to see that.
and he kicked her. So my whole thing was when I was disciplining him, I did whoop him or whatever. But Dane was like, you don't kick nobody. So his way of doing it was, and Dane, I ain't never had a problem with him morphing on nobody else. But I've seen when Dane was out to sea how I would discipline him and it wouldn't like click.
Yeah.
Because I would discipline, like, okay, and yeah, okay, boo. And then a few minutes later, I'm back, mommy and baby, and let them know I had to do it because I love you and I don't want you this.
Yes.
And I'm doing all this. Mommy wants you to be great and da 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 and
Yeah.
be mommy and I love you. And after I done whooped him, right? But Big Daniel would come and say, because see, that ain't the real world. You dealing with a man. And the real world ain't gonna come back and say, and I want you to be, he gonna have to learn how to navigate through. And I could see the difference. I literally would have to sit back sometime and hold myself, be like, oh Lord, I'm gonna just walk outside while you whoop him or while you discipline, because it was different. But I could see change.
Not easy.
It was a change. Even when he went back and talked to him, he didn't go back and boo,
And
you
apologize.
did fine, boo.
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you a cracker. You just gotta listen. Da, da, da. It was none of
That's
that.
why, oh, it's gonna hurt you more than gonna hurt me. I'm like, it's hurt me more than hurt you. We ain't gonna do that. Because we know the world is out there. It's very hard
That's
for you.
exactly what Daniel used to say. And I can see the difference. So now when Daniel act up, I be like, you deal with him. It's such a relief to have him to deal with him and not me, because I cannot get through to him like he can. I see that. So it's important that they have that. I just, because mama gonna be, and my baby, and he always my baby.
Yeah.
I think
It's definitely hard.
I think one thing should come up that when we are actually the father's not in the household, like Tamara is a single mother. I live in Georgia. She live in Texas. The issue is with overcompensating on my part. Like if Daniel was to come down here, I had a conversation last time. I promise you, you're not gonna get no whipping no matter what you do. Bad decision. I want to make you as comfortable as you want. It was the worst decision I ever made because he knew then. They're like, okay, well, my dad ain't gonna lie to me. So if he say I ain't gonna whoop him, so when you're out here just doing God knows what, only thing I can say, hey boy, stop. I ain't playing with you. You better stop.
Because you
So
promised.
now I'm sounding like Tamara.
Because you don't be there with him, so he felt like that was one of the ways he had to.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can
So
imagine.
we got to understand that even though I got to continue to keep the same morals that Tamara have, why she and y'all still need to continue to do exactly what you did at your mother house. So it won't be no confusion. And that's when a lot of times people don't understand how to co-parent, and they really don't get that part. Because for the longest, I tell you, I'm a great financial person. I pay my child support. I'm going to take care of my kid financially, but that don't make me a great father because I'm taking care of them, spending money. You got to really be there. A lot of time it's with the military. It's very hard. So I'm like, especially when they send her across to Japan somewhere. I'm like, I can't just really get on a plane and just go to Japan every day. That's a lot of money. I'm like, and I can't get on a MAX flight because I'm not military dependent anymore. So all this stuff goes into play. So like, I understand what you're saying when you're saying, dang, out to sea. I'm like, and when you need that, it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm like, because young men get out of the line real fast. I'm like, you don't see the little stuff when you turn your back and we sitting there watching. He think we're reading the newspaper. We just looking at him, that little bit up under your breath. And you wonder, well, why are you snatching him up like that? Why are you whooping him? I'm like, you didn't see what just happened. I'm like, that's going to turn into a whole nother issue. So even when he rolled his eyes or walk away a certain kind of way, I'm like, we have to be there to see it because that's not how we're supposed to act. That's not how we're supposed to carry ourselves as men.
Which goes back to say earlier, we talked about how we treat our girls instead of our boys. I remember my being in the house with my mama. She used to do us the same way. She used to be so hard on us, the girls. And I have one younger brother, and he could get away with murder. I think the women, as women, we don't want to see our girls go too far away where they can't come back. We want them to be so prepared.
True.
We want them to be so ready to face the world and not even think that, okay, your son got to go out here and face the world too. So you should be just as hard. That don't click, a lot of times because just looking at it from growing up, my mama, she was walking in on the room, like making sure you weren't sneaking out. She was making sure we weren't talking about on the phone. But guess what? My brother was sneaking out the room. He was sneaking, he was calling girl. He was doing all those things because she wanted for her girls to be prepared. She wasn't really too concerned about whether the boy was going to be prepared or not. And he just wanted to go out there and get the baby, So I think it's in today's society, we as women, we as parents have to raise our kids basically the same way, disciplined the same way, because they can both get into trouble. They both need to be prepared. They both need to be financially able to handle business, because you may end up being a single parent. You may end up not marrying and just, I just got a kid, but I never been married, or vice versa. Whatever the circumstance is, we need to raise them to be the same when it comes from, if you come out of my household, you got the same morals, you got the same values, same respect.
True.
You should have
It's
the
true.
same for both the boy and the girl, but we don't. Mothers, we're harder on them girls and we're a little bit lenient.
And that's because we know how to raise women. We know how to raise
Yeah,
girls.
yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
That's true.
It's like when you try to approach a situation that you don't really know about, you want to pacify it because you don't really know what to do. So you pacify it. But, I do see that in Shania, y'all know Shania. Shania is an awesome child. She don't give me no problems. Every now and again, I tell her to wash them dishes because she should have washed them 2 cups that was in the sink last night. And then, she'll look at me like, and she thinks that I didn't see it, but I saw it. I don't really say nothing about that, but because I don't have no problems out of her for the most part. But, I was always strict on her, and it wasn't to the point strict to where, she can't leave the house, so she can't do this. But, there's a lot of things that she cannot do. She can ask me, but she cannot do, and I will not let up. And it's just because I know what's out there. I know, how the world is. But how do I translate that into raising Daniel? It's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game because when I discipline Shania, she'll go in her room and she don't talk to me for a couple of days. When I discipline Daniel, he write me letters.
Yup.
He brings me snacks. Listen, he brings me snacks. He comes, he kisses me.
Yeah.
He apologizes.
Yep.
And when he apologizes, he hugs me and say, "Mommy, I'm sorry." He starts to cry, and I can see the sincerity. I think he's sincere, and so
not that girl though. Not that girl.
But my daughter,
validation. He need his mother. His mother is his rock. Your boy's mother is a rock.
I'm trying
She's
to tell
going to
you.
your mama every time.
The little
I'm trying to
girl
do.
walk around with an attitude for days.
yes, walk around with an attitude.
Yes.
So
I'm surprised you got to wash dishes because she don't have to do none of that when she around him. She stays in the bed,
Exactly.
and video games. She don't have to do none of that stuff.
But you see the difference, though. If when a girl is with her dad from when a girl is with her mom, there's a difference. So the way I treat Daniel is going to be different from how Carlos treats Daniel when he goes down there for the summer or whatever, because even though I baby him sometimes, I be wanting to punch him in the chest sometimes. When I tell you that boy, he tries me. Daniel tries me, and he knows what he's doing. Yeah. Especially when we're out in public. He gets really mouthy when we're out in public, and he'll say certain things, and he think I won't snatch him up in public. I'll still snatch him up, but not as hard as I would if we were home, because I don't want nobody calling the cops on me.
I do
or whatever. Listen, but he will try me. But if Junior says something, one time, he only got to say it one time. If Carlos is on the phone, he says something over the phone one time. And I'm right here in this boy's face. Yeah. And I got to tell him 25 times for him to get it. So it's definitely
enough conviction. if you say something back, I will be on my way to Texas. Trust me. I waste all that time and I lost a lot of money, boy. You finna get hurt.
Oh
When I
Lord.
get there. Like, hey, mommy can't save you now. Like, so,
Yeah.
I've always told my children very, very, very frequently that they always want to know mama for the rest of their life because mama is kind, mama is caring, mama wants to live for the Lord. And so therefore, she tries to follow the word to ensure that she is raising you in the way that you should be raised. And she tries to allow Holy Spirit to lead and guide her. Okay. But if you get to the point where you're smelling yourself a bit too much and you decide that you want to meet Ave.
Oh Lord.
Ave has decided that she is a sinner. And if she has to do what sinners do to get her point across, then she shall do so. Ave has decided that we have went down this way of me being the whole Mary Poppins. I could do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I am the head and not the tail. Mama, that's the way mama go. But Ave gets to the point where she's like, okay, so this is what you want. This is you want us to go from breaking bread together to where we squaring up on each other. That's what you're looking for. So I always encourage my children that for the rest of their lives, they always want to know mama and not Ave, because Ave was never intended to have a relationship with them.
Uh-oh.
Mama was.
Teaching here.
Because Ave, she don't do children. Mama was always intended to have a relationship with you. So the same way that I respect you, I expect you to respect me. And I understand that as you grow up and you get older and you start having all the chemicals changing in your body and you start to feel a little type of way, and that I may have to step in and check. In my checking, I always start off soft, girl or boy. Hey, fix it. Soft. Then we go to level 2, where it's like, little boy, little girl. I said, fix it. Then we get to level 3, where it's like, do you need my help? Because I'm willing to help if you need assistance. Like, tag me in, coach, is this what we're going to do? Then level 4 is, oh Lord, so it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it, and then he's like, forgive them. Because they're children and you're the adult and you decide to hop in the bed. I told you not to do it. You didn't listen. And so I was like, you're right. But those are like little things. But I say all of that to say, beloved,
come on,
that we are blessed to be in positions to have the opportunity to raise children. And as God has designed family, we all need each other to help raise our children. And just like we need a village to raise our children, it does not stop. When they become adults, we still need the village.
Absolutely.
To assist us as parents to be, the best that we could be.
Carlos, this has been absolutely amazing. I love hearing from your perspective. Like, sometimes these helpers on here, they be going in on folks. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I be watching. I be like,
they be going in. But they gave
watching. I don't say nothing. I just be watching.
No, for real though, you did good. It's a good perspective, and it's always good to hear from someone, because we can talk all day and we'll agree with each other, and sometimes we won't, but to have another male come in, we automatically like, these are my girls, so whatever he got to say, I got her back, but it's not like that. It's definitely good to have a perspective where we can all respect and learn from, and just grow from it, because we all need to learn something, every single time. And I think this is absolutely a great subject to have another perspective on, because we can all agree that we probably feel the same way, when it comes to raising these men and stuff like that. So I appreciate you coming on here and blessing us with this.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Check them all out. We're going to be posting different things every day. So check us out and follow us, and share with your family, share with your friends, tell a friend to tell a friend, share the show. And with that being said, we love y'all. See y'all next time. Bye.
Oh,